and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep you healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Phil Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in Phil Radio every Tuesday 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo.
And your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
Here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio.
every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio. Are you in need of new or gently used clothing? Hope's Community Closet is here to help. We offer a wide range of clothing for men, women, youth, children, and infants. Join us on the fourth Saturday of each month from 12:30 to 4 at the Silent Task Force. We're giving clothing with care, community with heart. Lovely Ladies Lemonade for sale and shop to the sound of old school soul. Any questions? Contact Alicia Kennedy, Executive Director of Women United at 206-316-7601. 206-316-7601. Come and find the perfect outfit for you and your family. We look forward to seeing you there.
Rainier Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio.
All right, here we go. Seattle Sports Weekly. Hi, y'all. Back. It's me again. I flubbed the song. The line. It's from a TLC song. It's hello. It's me again, and I'm back. All right, and then it goes on and on about creeping. We ain't gonna creep today, no, but we are gonna talk football. I'm not Sweet Amara, I should say. And this is Seattle Sports Weekly. Glad to be back. Where you been? Well, we've just been doing football and soccer, which we will talk about today. And football, as in the NFL and the Seattle Seahawks, they're in yesterday was day 4 of their 9-day mini camp. And I'll ask Corbin, you want to talk football? That's his jam. Corbin Smith is going to join us in just a moment. And he can, I do believe they'll do 12 OT, organized team activities, as they're called. And then in the second half hour, we got the legend Peter Hattrup to talk about the Sounders, the protest, and, the shirts they wear, the message, regarding the club FIFA World Cup, money and distribution, fairness. And we'll just talk about the overall state of the Sounders and, and also Club World Cup and, legend like Peter Hattrup. So I'm just really honored to get both of them on the same day. That's absolutely right. So, man, it's his jam because this guy, he was already on, ready to go to talk football. I wonder if we were going to talk soccer or baseball if he'd have been on early before we went live. But here he is, the one and only Corbin Smith. How are you, my friend?
Good, Maz. Nice to see you as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you. Hey, man, a lot has happened since you've been on the show. You want to tell us kind of you with one, who are you with now, what's going on?
Yeah, I launched a brand new sports website called Emerald City Spectrum, and we've got every pro and college team covered with reporters on the ground. I'm really excited about where things are going. It's been 3 months since we started it, so emeraldcityspectrum.com. And right now we're actually offering a Father's Day sale for an annual subscription. So you can get 50% off for the next year through June 15th. So something to check out on our website.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. You and I know it's not easy being, sole proprietor, and then especially the way that you cover and your staff, in depth, and not the clicks, but the in-depth and analytical stuff. So we'll just roll that right into the Seattle Seahawks. So tell me your overall impression. Just we'll start with that. Yesterday we were there. Just overall, what did you see? What did you notice?
Yeah, the first thing is, as soon as you mention a couple interceptions that a quarterback throws, you know how the world is now. Like, oh my gosh, quarterback controversy, or, so I want to immediately put some water on that fire. Not that fire should have been started anyway. Like, this is the time on the practice field where you're trying to learn a new offense. If you're Sam Darnold, there's new receivers. He's never played with any of these receivers before. So it is going to take some time. There are going to be mistakes. And the couple of picks that were thrown in the red zone yesterday, let's give some credit to Seattle's defense. I mean, Julian Love made a fantastic play undercutting the first interception. And the second one, Josh Jobe looked like he had rocket boosters on his cleats at the last second. Like, that throw looked open, and then suddenly it wasn't. And so I don't think that anybody should be looking at this, oh, man, Sam Darnold was awful, first day of OTAs, so let's give Drew Lock or Jalen Milroe the starting job. Like, there's no quarterback controversy. Mike McDonald made that clear this morning, but that's the thing. You know this, being on site, like, you report what you see, and Sam Darnold did have those couple interceptions, but at the same time, he also had some really nice throws yesterday, had 3 touchdowns to Cooper Kupp in their red zone drills. One of them was a perfect throw down the seam that, quite frankly, they were missing last year in their red zone offense. So there were plenty of really nice throws that he made. So that's the first thing I want to mention here, is that there isn't a quarterback controversy. Mike McDonald was right saying that was a crazy question this morning. Like, there's no QB controversy. It is Sam Darnold's job to maintain. He's not going to be battling with Drew Lock or Jalen Milroe. The other thing that jumped out was Christian Haynes getting to the first dibs at right guard, because that, to me, is the most notable starting job that is up for grabs on either side of the football. It already looks to me like Gray Zabel's got left guard cemented, as far as I'm concerned. And Oluwatimi, they gave Jalen Sundell a few reps at center, but that feels like he is a heavy favorite to maintain that job. Right guard, though, you could have as many as 4 or 5 players competing for that position. But right now, Christian Haynes, at least for the first OTA, he's getting the majority of those first team reps. Maybe Bradford gets the majority when we come back on Wednesday. But that is going to be the most intriguing storyline in terms of starting jobs that are up for grabs. And we get our first glimpse to kind of see where John Benton's mind's at, where the team's at, what they're hoping to see. My sense is they're really hoping that Christian Haynes can seize this opportunity, unlike last year where he wasn't able to do that, competing against Anthony Bradford.
Yeah, and we only saw a few reps, but what did you see out of Anthony Bradford?
Here's the thing about Bradford, Maz. Everybody assumes because he's 330 plus pounds that he is just a road grader, but you look at his athletic testing a couple of years ago when he was coming out of LSU, he's actually really athletic for a player of his size. And I thought he looked like he was a little quicker yesterday in the drill work that I was watching. So clearly they're going to give him an opportunity. He's still got some reps with the first team. And again, this might be a case, we've seen this in the past with the Seahawks, where one practice, one guy's getting the majority, and then another practice, the other guy's getting the majority of the reps with the first team. So Bradford maybe gets that opportunity in another OTA practice this week. And if that's the case, then clearly the Seahawks still believe there's a chance that he can turn things around and be a really solid starter. And maybe he can be with John Benton and this coaching staff that's been in the league for a long time. Maybe he responds better to their teaching, their coaching. We'll just have to wait and see. But again, it was just a handful of reps, but still a very big guy. Doesn't look like he came in lighter. But I will say this about Christian Haynes. I actually think I told you this on the practice field when we were watching yesterday. The biggest thing that Scott Huff and Ryan Grubb last year mentioned was that his strength at the point of attack was something that needed to improve. He does look like his arms, his upper body, that he did hit the weight room this offseason. So when the pads come out, I'm really interested to see how different he looks from that sense. We're not going to be able to find that out till August, but you get the sense both those guys, maybe Bradford's got the athleticism, but I'm much more optimistic that Haynes is going to fit the bill in terms of what they're looking for in this run and block zone scheme that Clint Kubiak is going to be installing.
That is the voice of Corbin Smith of Emerald City Spectrum, emeraldcityspectrum.com. You can go there. They're doing a Father's Day special. Corbin, I'll back up a little bit. What do you need from that position, irregardless of, which one of those two? What do you need from that position to make this profitable for the offense?
First thing you need is consistency. I think, and you could say that about the entire offensive line. The consistency has been the biggest problem the last couple of years. I did feel like in the second half, at least in the run game, when they did run the football, Oluwatimi was a stabilizing force on that front. He gave them a consistent presence at the center position as a run blocker. I thought Satoa Lamea, and again, he didn't get any right guard reps yesterday, but he might be in the mix still very much for that position, because he played fairly well, at least in the run game in those 6 games. Lamea's got the athleticism, but the consistency is what has to be checked off. Lamea struggled in pass pro at times, much like the rest of the line did when he got his starts last year. They have got to find a way to get more consistent performance across the board from their entire offensive line. And that's where having an upgrade in coaching, like they believe they have, that's where it is most likely going to manifest, is that you are going to have the techniques, the fundamentals push, that these guys are able to be consistent and they are able to play at a higher level, more than just small spurts, that you are consistently going to have that out there. And I think the athleticism component, especially this offense, that's going to be a huge part of it. You have to have guards that can reach block on 3 techs, and a big 340-pound plotter is going to struggle doing that. You have to have guys that are, I like to call them dancing bears. You have to have dancing bears at the guard position that have really light feet, but they have the ability to, when they get their hands on a guy, to be able to finish, to be able to seal them and create that cutback or bounce lane for the running back to be able to decisively cut on. You need athleticism. And if you can't get to your point, if you can't get to the area, the zone that you are supposed to be blocking, if you cannot get to that spot in time with the athleticism and quickness, you can't play in this scheme. It's just that simple. If you're consistently missing your marks, then the plays aren't going to work. So athleticism and consistency are the 2 big things. And when you're looking from a pass pro standpoint, you're hoping that you can keep your hands on guys. That has been the biggest issue. Right. Lunging has been a technique problem, particularly for Anthony Bradford, where you get on the front of your feet and you lunge forward, and then next thing you know, you're blocking air. There's got to be improvement on that front with hand placement, maintaining hands on guys, and mirroring. You have to have your hands and your lower body in sync in pass pro. And a lot of that is technique. It's coached up. So those are the 3 things I'm looking for from that right guard position when you're looking at, in general, and also this offense, what is it going to take to be successful?
And then Abe Lucas, he looked slim and trim. I mean, for a guy that big.
Well, let's just make this clear. Like, look, you and I see social media posts. We know how fans respond to certain things. And, Abe Lucas on Instagram the other day said he's 325 pounds. There were a lot of people that were scoffing at that. Like, he looks like he's too lean, or they were questioning that. Like, if you have actually seen Abraham Lucas in person, as we have, I actually saw him like a month and a half ago, but seeing him out there in the field yesterday in person, he is every bit 325 pounds. He is a tower, and he's just in phenomenal shape. You got to remember, muscle weighs more than fat. That dude, I guarantee he is under like 6% body fat. He is in incredible shape. He looked really agile. He was moving well. So I'm excited to see what Abraham Lucas is able to do this season, with him having an off season where he has been able to actually focus on football instead of rehabbing from an injury. I think he is the biggest X factor for this football team, Moz. If they have rookie version Abe Lucas or better than that, and he's able to stay healthy, their run game has been so much better the last couple of years when he's been in the lineup. They've had a losing record when he's been out. He, to me, is the equalizer for this offense and the offensive line. If you have him healthy and he's playing like he's capable of, that could be a win or two for you that you wouldn't have without it.
Drew Lock. I
don't want to start quarterback controversies.
No. I know we talked about Sam Darnold, that you eloquently stated that sure, he did what he had to do, and everybody's starting this over here. But Drew Lock, can you talk about, or what did you see in him proving more like he's the able backup that you need? Did you see everything you needed to see from him?
I always try to look at things from an open lens when it comes to practices, because Drew Lock was the best player on the field yesterday, in my opinion. That does not mean he's going to be the starting quarterback in week 1.
No.
But he was just absolutely on one yesterday, Maz. He made a couple of absolutely ridiculous throws. The red zone period, he had one that Cody White looked like he wasn't open. He was blanketed, and Locke was off platform. I think he had his left foot was like 3 feet off the ground. Like he looked like he was like a ballet dancer almost, and just flicked his wrist, and then the ball just rockets out, and Cody White was able to get last second separation. The ball's right in stride, hits him, touchdown. And then the best throw the entire day during the 7-on-7 period, he was rolling out to his left, almost out of bounds to his left, throwing across his body 25 yards downfield. There are very few quarterbacks in the NFL that have the arm strength to be able to make this throw when you're throwing across your body like that. And he throws a perfect ball to Steven Sims, gets right to him perfectly in stride where he can get his feet down. And there were audible gasps on the sideline from people in the Seahawks organization and reporters alike. Like, it was that kind of a throw. It was phenomenal. Receiver gets both feet down. He didn't throw any picks yesterday, threw a bunch of touchdowns. I mean, the only throws he had that were incompletions were a couple of them where he smartly threw it out of bounds because nobody was open, but he was on one. He was spinning it. He was throwing the ball, real quick release. It looks to me like he's made some improvements on that front since Seattle had him the first time, where he doesn't have quite as elongated of a release. He is just really quick, and that ball spins out of there quickly. He looks like he's a pitcher throwing a fastball, and it just rockets out of his hands. So give him credit. I think Seattle obviously has a major upgrade with their number 2 quarterback over what we saw last year. And Drew Lock is showing the physical tools where if they had to use him, we saw it against Philadelphia a couple of years ago, he can win games if he has to play as a starter.
We heard from 3 defensive players. We'll just kind of go to that side of the ball. And what did you notice about the pace of the practice? Was there intentionality? Because I've got, a couple quotes here just that I'll read off. But did you feel that same way, that there was definitely alacrity to get from one place to the next and play with speed?
Yeah, it looks to me like there's clearly been an emphasis on, in this second year in this system, practicing with a faster tempo much of the time. And I think that you're seeing it. And I will say this to start off the conversation, Maz. I don't know. This is my 9th year now that I have been covering the Seahawks as a credential reporter. And this is the 9th year, 8th because there wasn't OTAs in 2020 because of COVID. But this is the 8th time that I've covered OTAs. I don't think that I have ever seen a practice where more than 90% of the players in the 90-man roster were not just in attendance, but were participating until yesterday. Even the guys that weren't practicing, like your Uchenna Nwosu's, rookie Riley Mills, guys that are coming out injury, like they were there. DeMarcus Lawrence is the only one that I don't think that I was able to see. I don't know that he was on site. I didn't see him anywhere. But they had pretty much everybody practicing. And to me, it says something that guys like Jaron Reed and Leonard Williams, who are in their 9th, 10th year in the league, that they are showing up for these OTAs and they think they are incredibly important. That shows you how bought in they are to this football team, how bought in they are to McDonald and this coaching staff, and the strong finish they had last year. You missed the playoffs. You have that bad taste in your mouth. You want to get off to a fast start this year and build off what they did at the end of last year. And I think that the veterans are sending that message to the young guys. Hey, we need to take advantage of every opportunity that we have right now on the practice field. We want to be the number one defense in the NFL. They made it very clear yesterday. Jaron Reed and Devin Witherspoon both we don't want to be top 5. We want to be number 1 in the NFL. And these practices, it's clearly not real football. You're not hitting anything like that, but the mental part of the game, the processing part of the game, and the chemistry part of the game, those things can really be boosted by having a good attendance rate of these OTAs. And the fact that they had pretty much everybody there, that speaks volumes to what Mike McDonald is selling right now.
Yeah, I mean, Jaron Reed, to paraphrase here, he said, we want to be number 1 in every category, and that's what we're striving for. But I like, then we're hungry was the rest of that sentence. I love the next sentence here, I thought was really profound. It says, every game may not be perfect, but that's what we're striving for. That's what we're working hard to do. So it sounds like there is it's just not, we're going to be the best and we're just going to walk out there and it's going to happen, right? There seems to be like, we're going to have to work hard and there's going to be some learning things here, but our overall goal is what we're out to achieve, that being the number 1 defense. Devin Witherspoon, the energy, I got that. Did you take it? What did you take away from a couple, his comments and what you saw?
It's much the same as Jaron Reed. It's funny because you and I both talked to Devin Witherspoon one-on-one a couple of times, and he has always been pretty candid about stuff. I feel like he is kind of, he's kind of quiet when we do our press conferences with him stuff. But I will tell you one thing about that kid. Like he is a 3rd-year pro that acts like he's a 10th-year pro in the sense that he always has this chip on his shoulder that he's like, I have so much left to prove. And he's got confidence, but he also has this clear understanding that I have not, I've been good, but I haven't been great, at least statistically. There's so much room for me to grow as a player. And I found that to be something that was exciting that he was talking about yesterday. And listen, some of the teams just don't throw the ball very much at him. He hasn't had the ball production that some of the other top corners of the league have had. And maybe playing a little more in the boundary is going to help him do that. But there's a sense, there's a lot of confidence. There's a calm, there's a poise to him. There's an understanding that I'm in year 3, but players are looking up to me. He knows that. He understands that he has a leadership role on this defense. I personally think Devin Witherspoon is the heartbeat of this defense. Jaron Reed, Leonard Williams, Julian Love, Ernest Jones, those guys are all very important leaders at various position levels. But I think when you're looking at a guy that leads both with his voice, because clearly we heard Devin Witherspoon, you hear him on the practice field. He leads with his voice, but he also leads with example with the way he hits and just how hard he plays the game. I feel like he is the Energizer Bunny. He is the heartbeat of this defense. And you can even see it on the practice field. I was loving yesterday when he wasn't even on the field and there was that interception by Shamar Jean Charles. And that was a pick. He got both feet down in bounds. I went back and watched it. The ref was definitely wrong, but it was a bang, bang play. And Witherspoon had to turn around and from the screen and be like, you got that one wrong, ref. And, but he is always looking to coach up players over there where they have the HD screen on the sideline. He always is looking to coach guys up. He just has this veteran presence to him that you don't often see with a guy, even his 3rd year, where even the guys that have been in the league 8, 9, 10 years, like you can see Leonard Williams, and they're always looking to him to get some insight because he's a very high IQ football player. And like I said, I just think he is – I think you can make an argument he's the heartbeat of this football team, not just the defense. I think he has reached that point here in Seattle where he's that important.
Yeah, well, there's 2 things. One thing I got to say, we don't say on this show, Corbin, is that the referee is wrong, since some of us ref, but
I'm not a ref, so I can say whatever I want. But
if you are a coach,
hey, it was a bang bang play, and the guys were having fun with them because the next one, the next play, Elijah Arroyo scored a touchdown. But man, that was as blatant of an offensive pass interference as you're going to see, like full extension, knocking Charles onto his duff, and no call. Julian Love comes sprinting down the sideline to the ref, like, "What are you doing?" Like, it was all fun and games, obviously, but I saw some fans that were posting like, "Oh my gosh, they were getting into the refs. What's wrong with them?" Like, it was fun between both sides. You know, environment.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but that's to your point about the togetherness and how this team competes. I'm really glad that you brought up for our audience and the fact, that what Witherspoon does with the HD screen. Can you go into that a little bit more? Just what do you mean by HD screen? Where's the TV and what do players do to that as part of the learning? Can you take them into that moment, play after play, and what Witherspoon does in terms of those big screens that are there? Because not everybody gets to go to practice.
Yeah. So they installed these screens. I think this is the third or fourth year they've had them now on the sideline, but they have two of them. They have one on each side of the field. And after each play, they can go over and they can watch the replay. And I think that's great because it provides you an opportunity. It's instant learning, instant reaction to what happened on the field. So if you did make a mistake, you can quickly be like, okay, I can see visually the entire field. This is where I messed up. Or if something was just a miscommunication. And I think that's where Witherspoon comes into play. Like, hey, turn this rookie corner, like maybe it's Zy Alexander or whatever. Hey, this is what you did here, and this is what we want you to do. And here's what the offense is doing. You can break down the play real quick. And Devin Witherspoon, we were seeing that his rookie year. Like the guy always is looking to do that, not just for himself, but for his teammates, because he's got that high football IQ. And that was the other thing that jumped out to me that Witherspoon said yesterday. He made it a point that Nick Emanwari is a similar player in terms of how he's wired. He is a football mind that is a quick processor. We got to see it in drill work yesterday. He made some mistakes, comes over, coaches work with him. Next rep, he looks 10 times better. So he's one of those kind of guys. If he makes a mistake, he fixes it and he's not going to do it again. And I think that's an exciting revelation from Witherspoon. That was the first thing he pointed out about his new teammate.
Absolutely. All right, a couple more minutes. Where does it all go wrong? The Seahawks have a bad season if this happens.
If Sam Darnold becomes a pumpkin, that would be the first thing. If he plays like he did earlier in his career, I don't think that's going to happen. But if he played like he did with the New York Jets, then the Seahawks season could absolutely tank, even with their defense being great. Injuries always are part of the equation. They have a litany of injuries that could impact things. But I'm going to throw one more thing out here. Sure. If they can't run the football any more effectively than they have the last 2 years, I'll be stunned if that's the case. I think this is I'm going to make this proclamation right now, Maz. I think this is at minimum a top 12 rushing team in the NFL this year. I look at the talent they have at running back. I think the fullback effect, that was the other thing. Like, they're running a lot of plays with fullbacks out there. I think Robbie Oots in front of those running backs is going to help that run game. And I think the O-line is going to be much more effective with a zone blocking scheme with the coaches they've got, the personnel that they have. But that would be, to me, a huge thing. If the run game is not there to support Sam Darnold and you have to put everything on Darnold's shoulders without having the star receivers that you've had in the past, to me, that would be the recipe where the offense just can't be good enough to win games. The defense keeps them in games, but the offense can't win games. That's where you're looking at a team that fails to get to the 500 mark, falls a few games below 500, and maybe finishes third or fourth in the NFC West. That, to me, is the worst case scenario.
Was Ernest Jones there yesterday? I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, so Ernest was running. He was running before practice with one of those vests on. He was doing some stuff with running up the hill and doing some sprints in the field, but he didn't practice. So I believe McDonald or Schneider, one of them, I think, mentioned early in the offseason that he had knee cleanup procedure.
That's right.
So I think that he's just working his way back from that. And it's June. They're not going to chuck him into the lineup. He's not healthy. So he'll be ready for camp, though.
See, there you go. There's another nugget. Time is up. And I tell you, they always say, hey, leave them something when you get good guests to come back. But I feel like I was supposed to go to dim sum and I didn't even get past the appetizers. So that's what you left up with because of the great information. Dude, you're the best. You really are. And hope to get you back. Him, dude, being Corbin Smith of Emerald City Spectrum. Just awesome content, man. Appreciate you. And thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Anytime, Maz. And I will see you tomorrow at OTAs.
All right. We'll see. I'll see him tomorrow. I'll see you all on the other side of the break here on Seattle Sports Weekly.
Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Join Rainier Avenue Radio and Safeway Saturday, June 14th at the Rainier Beach location celebrating Juneteenth. There'll be live music from Alex Dugdale and the Fade Jazz Quartet. Get your face painted by a local artist celebrating freedom through food and fellowship. We'll be there with activities including interviews, and we're going to talk to staff from Safeway as well. Hey, we're going to have raffles, and we'll be giving away Safeway gift cards along with a year's supply of Gain laundry detergent. Phenomenals. And yes, a live remote with me, Tony B. Come on down to Safeway and join us and honor Juneteenth by purchasing Black-owned products on Safeway's shelves like Glory Greens, Glory Foods, and Mrs. Richardson's Toppings. Safeway, doing it big on Saturday, June 14th. You dig? At your Rainier Beach Safeway location.
Hey, Seattle, tune in to Lidline Sports every Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
What up, yo? We are back. This is Pep and the man that don't take no mess, Mr. O-P-I-S, Mr. Stevenson. What say you?
I hope you see the hat that I'm wearing right now. That's how mad I am.
I do. Man, you are angry.
I just want to make that be known.
Tune in to Lidline Sports every Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Lidline Sports.
Hey, y'all. It's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio. Download the app so you don't miss out what's popping with Crackers Shining. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to do, being you're supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all. A lot to talk about. Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam, Thursday at 4 p.m.
This is a Rainier Avenue Radio message on fentanyl awareness in our communities. And we're going to have open, honest, frank conversation today about fentanyl.
But I think it's just going to take everybody. It's going to take communities, it's going to take cities, it's going to take counties, state, and federal partners to all come together to really tackle this. But I think first and foremost, it starts with us and making sure we have the education and we have the wherewithal to help out on the streets, because this is where we are, and it affects all of us. How easy is it to find information about what's going on in your community, in your public schools? And I'll just tell you, it's not very easy. And a lot of information is sort of outsourced to other areas.
This has been a Rainier Avenue Radio message on fentanyl in our communities.
You know you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio. .org.
All right, we are back. Seattle Sports Weekly. I'm Osvita Maraire, and joining you. And welcome back for the second half. And we've got Peter Hattrup will join us, and in just a moment. And can't wait to, talk. It's been a minute. Talk with the legend about all kinds of, soccer. It's popping off, I should say. It's on and cracking is the deal. And I don't mean the Seattle Kraken, but let me take a quick point. Ooh, Seattle Storm play tonight, 6:30, and they play the Dallas. And I didn't put that in the promo, and I hate when I miss out, and I'll be there. So I might not. I might grab my credentials, say, "What you ain't publicizing the Storm?" So they're on a 3-game losing streak, and they need a, if there's one team, 1-6, Dallas Wings are, that's their opportunity to do that. It's a bounce back game, if you will. So for head coach Noel Quinn and Skylar Diggins and Neko Gumike and Dominique Malanga and Ezzy Magbor. So there you go. As far as soccer, it's great. That's what's great about having Peter's gonna come on here, and we're just chop it up. Right? And there's no better person. We'll start with the Champions League first, of course. No better person to talk soccer than Peter Hattrup. What's going on, legend? Thank you for making this work, by the way.
No problem. I'm trying to figure out if we're young enough to say it's been a minute.
No.
Come on. There's some things we just have to leave alone.
No. That's way back. Peter, it's been a minute. That's way back. I don't know what they call it. Wait a minute. Seattle Prep, y'all didn't say that? It's been a minute over there?
No. No.
Wow.
I don't believe they were saying that out at Roosevelt either.
Now wait a minute. That's a good one. I'm gonna get back to you.
You get Hugh Millen. I guarantee he wasn't saying it's been a minute.
That's fair.
That's like I can't start telling people, what do you think of my fit? Come on. Not gonna work.
Peter, man, you're coming. I don't know. It's been a minute. That's been around. But I'm gonna ask a few people. Nah. It's been a minute. Yeah. A hot minute.
Well, they just might be old enough to forget what they said, so it might work for you.
But you brought up the age thing. Tell me what you thought of the Champions League final.
Oh, I mean, fantastic. It was good for the sport, and I say that in a way that the team that went out and took chances and attacked was the winner. And Inter Milan is effective, and they did some good things, but they don't exactly play free-flowing, entertaining soccer. So I think to see a team that goes out and takes chances and plays, it would have been crazy to see what kind of game that would have been with Barcelona and PSG. Both teams wanted to go forward all the time, but I think Luis Enrique has done a fantastic job with that team. He's changed the way some of those guys have played. He's changed their roles, playing Dembele through the middle of the field and then having him float right and left when he wants. It's nice to see a tighter game, with a little bit more drama. But as far as just the pure spectacle of a team just saying, we're gonna go score goals, and if you can stop us and get some of the other end, good for you. But it was entertaining for sure.
Is the game changing?
It's always changed, and it changes and it goes back. It's like they say about the NFL. It's a copycat league.
Right.
It works for somebody, and everybody goes, well, maybe we should do that. Unfortunately, the people that copy somebody are rarely as good as the teams that did it to start with. So, there was this stretch in the 70s. Well, everyone wants to play like Holland. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
You got Cruyff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Johan Cruyff.
People wanted to play like Germany and Bayern Munich with an attacking sweeper, but we had a donkey that kicked guys, and they had Beckenbauer. So yeah, it's dangerous to go out and say, well, we want to play this way. You've got to fit it to your personnel to a certain extent. If you're one of the biggest clubs, well, you can buy whatever you want, but then you got to fit them together still. And so, Luis Enrique played basically the same way with them that he played with Barcelona. He had attacking players, and he said, "Let's get the ball up to those guys quickly, and we'll play." And when he had the MSN tried in up front, it worked, and with this group, it worked. And Vitinha, who to me was a question mark at times when a couple years ago with Mbappe and Messi and Neymar, was fantastic in the final.
I guess the question, I think the better question would have been, is the game getting younger? Are teams more apt now to give the players more developed at 19, 20 now as a whole? You've always had, 3 or 4, but it just seems to me, I asked the question, there's a bigger collective of younger 19, 20, 21-year-olds than there has ever been. And that's a big statement. I get it. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes and no. I mean, they're probably spotted earlier because the academies are far more developed throughout the world than they used to be. People from different places are getting looks in these academies. The big clubs, their academy is not local anymore. Their academy might be worldwide. And they get the best of people around them, but they have scouts all over the world finding people to bring into their academies. So they're recognizing them at younger ages. But that Dembele is mid-20s, 25, 26, somewhere in there.
Sure.
Marquinhos in the back he's been there for 15 years, I think, or 12 years, I think. So, so the whole team wasn't young. The fact that a couple of young guys had standout games, and we see Lamine Yamal for Barcelona being spectacular, but some of these other younger guys, how long do they last? Ansu Fati, what happened to him? I mean, Vinicius Jr. went from everyone saying, well, this should be the Ballon d'Or winner, to going, what happened to this guy? He's done nothing in the past, very little in the past year. So can they break through? Can they sustain it? Are they going to get burnt out?
And that has to
be. I think the best teams have a mix. I mean, your ideal team would be almost an entire squad of 24, 5, and 6-year-olds, still young enough to run as much as they need to, but with some experience. But that mix of some old heads to calm things down, and the one thing about the young guys now, they show no fear.
Right.
They don't care. It's almost as if I don't know who I'm playing against. Who's that guy? So they just go, and it's refreshing.
It's interesting you said that, and I talked to Obed Vargas I don't know, in the last month or so, maybe a few months, and I said, maybe it was last year. I was like, man, see the guys you're playing against, man. Wow, your ball, hey, what's your thoughts on that? He goes, well, what am I supposed to do? He was like, I'm supposed to go out here and play. So I don't matter to me who I'm playing against. And he wasn't being brash, but it was to your point. It was that awareness that, hey, here's what Scout says, and here's what I can go out and do. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody has that one or two guys that if they go on the field, they look around and kind of go, well, I'm out here with, with whatever generation it was. Really, I'm supposed to mark Pele, but the rest of the time it's like, all right, I want to see what I can do. So I think that, it's almost surprising that they're not more starstruck, because they see them all now. It used to be you might play somebody from someplace else, you didn't know who they were. You didn't watch, but maybe the fact that they do see him makes them realize, okay, he's got 2 arms and 2 legs just like me. Let's go play.
Now you're Sounder legend, So we'll I was on KJR this morning and try to tightrope here, but we're going to talk about the protest. So I know you're a player. I mean, you're in the team's Hall of Fame, so you can't say too much. But just your overall impressions, what you thought about, players wearing the. Again, we're talking about the Sounders, and let me back up. He's Peter Hattrup. He is a Seattle Sounder legend, gold scarf. Owns one of those as well, and Northwest legend, I should say. But what did you think about the players? All of it, the club, the T-shirts they wore, as this protest statement to the disproportionality of the pay, just all of that. Just tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, there's two issues. One, the CBA.
We like dogs, by the way.
Well, yeah, Big Duncan's not happy with something. I don't know what's going on.
He wants to go out and play. He's like, what are we doing?
So somebody's walking within a mile of the house, so now he's got to be upset and make sure they can't come any closer. So, no, come find me. But the CBA doesn't really cover it.
Yeah,
because it's a situation where this tournament, in the form it's taken, came along after the CBA was signed. So now, was the players' union not very far-sighted by not leaving some leeway, or possibly? But I think without players, there's no game, and they deserve a bigger share of it. What that share is, I don't know. It's one thing everyone says, well, there's this much money. Okay. How much expenses are there? It's more complicated than just, well, they deserve X amount. For those of us on the outside, we don't know all that, but I'm sure they deserve bigger bonuses than they're getting. It's the Sounders are in it because the players won something, and so they should be rewarded for that. They aren't in it because the club was picked because somebody likes them. So, well, the club deserves the money for that. So, I think they deserve more than they're getting, I'm sure. And I also don't know who's in charge of that. I don't know if that's a Sounder issue, an MLS issue.
Well, they did. We obviously talked to him a little bit, but yeah, and again, this is more of a MLS Players Association talking with the owners, that ownership group, and we don't know who that group was, but in all fairness, the players were protesting to say, look, we've been talking about these discussions and we haven't heard anything. Like, we've sent letters and nothing. So not only it's not just that we demand more, it was, hey, let's talk, and we haven't heard anything. And so that was part of, like Christian Rodan pointed out, that was part of the frustration.
Yeah, the lack of engagement for sure is an issue. And I won't go into details, but I had a situation in my career where I had a bonus in my contract and I couldn't even get a response back from the owner. And I was no longer with the team, but I was owed X amount of money, and you want to spend all your time in court suing for it. I probably should have, for the simple reason I had an attorney for free. Good old dad could have come to the rescue. but I'm not sure it would have been worth the headache and the time or his time and everything else. I mean, it wasn't a $500,000 bonus. But it is frustrating when you can't even get a response. Can't even get okay, let's sit down and talk about it. We understand there's an issue. Let's see what could be resolved. And my understanding seems to be that owners just say, well, read the CBA. If they even say that. Check collective bargaining agreement. That's why you don't get any more. So
Yeah, I mean, I went back and read it, and I mean, it's pretty specific. I mean, it's there, just the 1 million. You know what I mean? I mean, it's yeah. I think there's
right.
lack of foresight when
But
you.
this tournament, as it's formed now, did not exist previously.
Yeah, no.
So to agree for just maybe $1 million seemed really good with what the tournaments were at the time. So the players were like, okay, that sounds great. And now they look and they go, it's how much? Doesn't sound so good anymore. So
And to Christian Rodin's point, and Stephen Fry as well, but they both were very articulate. They said the league's changed, things have changed. Since that contract was written, there's a lot has happened to the league to benefit players and coaches and fans. There seems to be more and more teams now looking for soccer specific stadiums that, as they were playing in football stadiums then. So I don't make the correlation that the team didn't beat Minnesota because the protest was a distraction for that specific game. I would assert that it's been a distraction. I have no measure of it, obviously, but obviously it has been a distraction.
Yes and no. I think players worldwide are pretty good at compartmentalizing and have to be. Your best friend gets traded or cut or something else happens. You don't get mourning period. You got to go play. And players all over the world, unhappy with their contracts, still show up and play and perform. And it's a strange animal because you're right. The league has changed. The money's completely different. The influx of money has changed. And it's very much like when people look and they say, and they watch the NFL players and they say, why is he holding out? He signed a contract. Well, it's also, at least in some of these, NFL, well, they can cut you. So what's the contract worth?
There's no guaranteed, yeah.
A lot of them aren't guaranteed, which is why. And it's common if you significantly outperform your contract, time to tear it up and sign a new one, which has been done throughout the soccer world as well. You look and you go, wait a minute, we signed you on your rookie deal and you were making, I don't know what they make now, 60 grand a year or something. Well, I don't know if that's accurate anymore, but
no, it's the minimum.
And all of a sudden, it's like you're a first team player nonstop. We better sign you to something new. And okay, how long is that going to be? Well, and I'd be leery of signing a 5-year contract in the MLS right now because the league keeps changing so much. And there's no guarantee that they're going to tear up your contract and write a new one. So, but the teams want to have control. They don't want to sign 2-year contracts. And I understand that. So it's a complex issue. And I think this bonus it's a one-off. I think they need to figure out a way to compensate them. To a certain degree. But again, I'd have to look at all the numbers and to have a better idea of what that percentage should be.
Yeah, and when I say it's a distraction, it's more of like, man, it's one less thing that both sides could deal without. You know what I mean? From that perspective.
And I think Sunday's game, if it would have been an issue, it wouldn't have been until the second half. If you're coming out, you're thinking about something else, you get boat raced right out of the gates. In the first half, actually, they had some decent chances. Probably should have gone ahead. A couple of these balls that trickled across the face of the goal, no one could get to, and it was basically unfortunately, a 10-minute disaster of, great if you were a neutral fan. You got 4 goals in the 10 minutes, but It just, a tough 10 minutes, and it happens sometimes. Sometimes something goes wrong and you can't put the brakes on quick enough.
Yeah, I definitely, and somebody asked Brian the question. It was a great question that, hey, did the t-shirts distract the players' performance in that game? And Brian, and I did just great answer. He said, "Well, I don't know, but it's one of those things that if you win, I'm paraphrasing, you don't talk about it. If you lose, people can open it up. But as Brian is an amazing coach and just amazing human being, he had previously said that it is a free country and those kinds of things. So, let's see, 2020, 81,000. This right? Yeah, look, I collective bargaining agreement. I pulled it up here. 2025, 104,000. The minimum annual base salary for each year of a player's contract under a player who may be paid the reserve minimum. So there you go. And the minimum reserve salary, 2025, 80,000. Okay. So there it is. And we can get back to just a note. The WNBA next year, they're wiping out all the contracts. That's this it'd be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, you're a basketball guy. How they handle that. But Peter, I thought, putting Jackson Reagan in a pushed up position made it difficult on Christian Rodan. I thought it affected his game where he had to stay back a little bit more than he needed to. Fair assessment or not?
Yeah, I mean, if Jackson keeps stepping forward into that area, he's capable of playing there at times, but then Christian feels he has to hold. Well, which one's better stepping up into that gap? And I'd say it's Christian. So who do you want doing that job? And it's not a matter of can Jackson do it and can Christian cover for him? Sure he can. And in the short term, every now and then, it's okay. But if it's we've constantly got you back covering for somebody else going forward, but you're better going forward than they are. I think it cost the team a little bit of the rhythm that they played with recently.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do this very often, but I remember an example long ago when I was playing, and one of the guys behind me wanted me to make a run through, and I looked at him and said, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, you clear space." And I go, "For who?" And he goes, "Me." And I go, "We don't want me making runs to clear space for you. we want me getting the ball and you supporting me." And he kind of looked at me like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, my job is to create chances. Your job is to defend." So, I don't think I'll go to the Sounders. I don't think we want Ryan Kent running out of the space so Nuhu can get the ball and cross it.
No.
I'd rather Ryan Kent with the ball. That's just, and we'd rather have Nuhu defending. That's just kind of what they do there. But do your role as well as you can. And if you happen to do a couple extra things, that's a bonus.
Couple minutes left, legend. Thoughts on what has to happen, let me just thoughts on Seattle, Vancouver.
It's an interesting game. Sounders going into the Club World Cup. Vancouver knowing that they just lost the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Right.
And with this new format, are they going to get a berth into the next one? I don't even know if anybody knows the format, but I think the Sounders come off a tough game, but okay, it's a one-off, and now you're going into the Club World Cup. You want to go in with some momentum, and I think I think they'll play well. I think Vancouver had it all their own way for a good stretch. They hadn't had a bad result in a while. And then they got pounded in the biggest game of the year. It's weird to have that big of a game in the middle of your season. Sounders know what that's like after winning the Champions League a few years back. And that was the highlight of the season. It was tough to get going again. So will Vancouver bounce back, or will they have a little bit of a hangover after that? I think it's going to be a tough one. I think the Sounders will at least get a draw out of it up there.
Fair enough. That's why you're the legend. Thanks for coming on, Peter. Always appreciate it. He's Peter Hattrup, Northwest legend. You're a soccer legend as well. And I always got to remember, dude, play basketball, Seattle Prep. There you go. All right. Quick announcement. We have Rainier Avenue Radio will be live on location for Sunday's Juneteenth celebration, June 14th from 1 to 4 at the Rainier Beach Safeway. Clean Greens is up next. D Money, thank you so much. All right. Again, thanks to Corbin Smith, and thanks to my